Hello, hello. I wanted to share this awesome story before I went to bed tonight. So last night, I came across this quote by Og Mandino. And if you don't know who Og Mandino is and you're into self-help, you're into leadership, you're into putting people first, and maybe you're into all those things, but you've never heard of Og Mandino, consider this your blessing. My mom raised me on Og Mandino, The Greatest Salesman. All his books are amazing, okay? And so last night, I came across this quote that I had put on my Facebook a couple of years ago. It popped up in my memories. And the quote goes, beginning today, it's a really good story. This is just God. He's awesome. Beginning today, treat everybody you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster, and do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be the same. And so this morning, something's wrong with my AC, and I have a warranty company that's the Pitts, and I'm not going to say their name. And so they've assigned a couple of people to come out and look at it, and finally, after like 3 different people, different reasons they didn't come, this guy came. And I had to apologize to him that I was still in my robe. I was all covered up, but I had worked late on Sirius covering the College World Series. So then my kind of clock's off and I'm staying up late and I'm working and I'm doing different things. And so he comes in from outside from fixing it. And I just I don't know. It was a God thing. I don't know what, but I said, yeah, you know, it's been a kind of crazy 45 days. Ish, and I said I lost my mom 45 days ago, and around in there, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said, "Yeah, it's been hard." And he said, "I lost my wife 10 years ago." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Do you mind if I ask how?" And this guy looked like he's kind of had a rough life, and he alluded to that. He said she had blood cancer, and they told her when she found out she had cancer that she had 5 years because of some previous illnesses. But when they went to do this surgery that they needed to do to get her stable, she died 5 days later. And so we talked a little bit about cancer. And I told him about my mom's battle. And I asked him, because I've been listening to sermons lately and getting fed, and just God's been putting on my heart, Rachel. And people have been saying to me, Rachel, I love that you pray so, like, you know, without fear, without reservation on your social media. And I just, God's been saying, do that more in this crazy, crazy world. Show people me even more. And so anyway, so I asked him, I said, are you a believer? And he said, I am. And I said, well, sir, I said, the only solace that I take is knowing that my mom is with Jesus and that I'll see her again. And he got teary-eyed. And I got to tell him about this book called Heaven is for Real. And how the little boy was only 3.5 when he died in this surgery, but yet he knew his sister's name that was miscarried, that he didn't even know about, and was able to tell his mother about it. Can you imagine, like, falling out? He talked about, you got to look up the book. He talked about Jesus's markers, his markers. And they were like, what? And finally, after like a year or two of trying to get this out of this little boy, they figured out he was talking about the holes in his hand. And we were talking about animals and how Buddy Joe is like my saving grace. And he was telling me about how he got Dobermans right before she passed, and they've kept him sane. And so we were just able to talk about faith and God. And I feel like his wife and my mother were smiling down on us from heaven. And it just, it just reinforced the quote. I'm going to read it again. Og Mandino, M-A-N-D-I-N-O. These are happy tears, by the way. Because I say this, I'll tell you about another thing that happened today. But I say this, I say I'm a millionaire because of the people in my life and the experiences I get to have. People are my currency. I'm a millionaire. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care, kindness, and understanding you can muster, and do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be the same. So I had that experience this morning. And then I had 2 of my kings with Changing the Narrative check on me today and just say, how are you? You know, what's going on? I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you. One of my kings sent me a picture of his baby and told me how wonderful the baby, you know, had united his family. And so people think it's me checking on these kings all the time. they check on me. They take care of me too. And it's awesome. And then tonight I got to have another conversation with Mike Loxley at Maryland about his mother passing right after Mother's Day and how he saw my stuff on my mother. And we talked about heaven and his son that's in heaven. And I'm going to go speak at his college and the culture that he wants to build and his theory on time being so precious. You can get the money back, but you can't get the time back with people. So I hope tomorrow, happy tears. I got my little Julia Roberts vein. I've always had that. It goes right down my forehead there when I'm very emotional, have my happy vein. So tomorrow, I want you to be intentional and use this quote tomorrow, okay? One more time. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend to them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster, and do it with no thought of any reward, and your life will never be the same. I love you guys. Have a wonderful night.